So this version of MiniTab that I have open here is MiniTab 17. If you're working with MiniTab 18 or 19, you might have a window here on the left which says navigation, and you might have these two windows, which is the worksheet and the session window, towards here on the right. It doesn't really make any difference. The key two things you'll want to know about are the worksheet that will look like this in any MiniTab version, and the session window, which will look something like this in any MiniTab version. So the worksheet is where you're going to put the data, put the numbers that you want to have analyzed, and the session window is where you're going to get the output, the results of that statistical analysis. So the work works just like an Excel spreadsheet. It looks pretty similar already. You have cells defined by columns, column 1, column 2, column 3, and so forth. Then you have rows, numbered rows, and the only difference to Excel is that you have this one row here, which doesn't have a number and is grayed out. And this one is an important one, and we'll get to that in a second. Let's say you want to put some data into MiniTab. You can just type in the data, right? You can just put in some nice numbers here, whatever the numbers might be. And then you can put a heading for the column. You want to give it a name. Maybe that's your sample number 1. You type that into the gray row. That's the important bit. So a text needs to go into the gray row here if you want to label a column as something. If you put the text into one of the white cells, like I'm doing here, you'll see that the column will become a text column. It'll turn to C2-T, which is a text column. So that is going to create a problem if you want to load data into R and into MiniTab, into the tests that you can run. So I'll show you that in a second, what problems that creates. Okay. If you want to copy data from an Excel spreadsheet into MiniTab, which is no problem at all, what you can do is you can go to your Excel spreadsheet. You can just copy the data. So see here, for example, I've got a spreadsheet with 3 columns of data. I can just highlight those, including the text labels at the top, copy that, and then I can just go to my MiniTab and just paste those cells into here. Now, you've noticed I've right-clicked on the gray cell here and pasted the columns into the gray cell because I want the text, the A, B, and C, the labels of the columns, I want those to go into the gray row up here, okay? If I copied this, again, a copy, and if I put them into the white cells, then I would, well, actually, MiniTab here has been very clever. It's not even taken the letters here from the first row to paste them or from the gray row to paste them into the first row. So actually, MiniTab is already being careful not to copy labels at the top of columns into the text cells, right? Into the number cells, the white cells. So the reason I'm bringing this up and making such a point of it is because sometimes if a test doesn't do what you want it to do, or if you can't see the data you need for your test in your test window, the reason might be because you've put a bit of text at the top of the column, and MiniTab now thinks you've made a text column and not a numbers column. Okay. So that's the basic layout of MiniTab. You've got your session window where you'll see your test results. You've got your worksheet where you can put your data in, just like in any kind of Excel spreadsheet, right? So in this case, I want to take that out. Type in numbers. Yeah. So in that sense, MiniTab is very easy to use because it's just like Excel. The only difference is the things you can do with the numbers in that spreadsheet. And that is going to have to do with the various different options you have up here. So you have here the toolbar here, where you have the various different menus where you can do things with the data. You have, for example, a calculator tab where you can do calculations with the data. You can add them together, subtract them, much like you would do in Excel. And then you have the very important one, the stat menu. That is the one where you're going to have all the statistical analyses. That's the one you really want to focus on, and that's what we're going to focus on in the next videos. And then you have the graph one here as well, where you can do a range of different graphs with the data you have in MiniTab. Okay, but this was the basic introduction to MiniTab. How you put data into it, how to work with this worksheet down here. And in the next video, we'll see how to do some of the statistical analyses in MiniTab.